Hello students, today we are going to study the topic of multicollinearity in econometrics. We are going to see 5 things about multicollinearity. First is what is the definition or nature of multicollinearity. Then the causes of multicollinearity. What are the consequences that multicollinearity leads to, and how to detect multicollinearity and remedial measures. So the term was given by Ragnar Frisch. Now multicollinearity is basically perfect or exact relationship among some or all the explanatory variables. When we have perfect multicollinearity, then variables can be described in the form of one another exactly, where lambdas are not all zero at the same time. When we have imperfect multicollinearity, then there is error term present, which shows that there is imperfect multicollinearity among explanatory variables. Now multicollinearity doesn't rule out the non-linear relationship, that is, when we have non-linear relationship among variables, then it does not violate any assumption of no multicollinearity. So this model is perfectly fine. There is no problem in this. Now what are the causes or sources of multicollinearity? So first is that in time series data, regressor may share a common trend, now which can lead to multicollinearity problem. Or use of lagged variables or lagged values of explanatory variables can also lead to multicollinearity. We may have model specification of this kind where multicollinearity is present among the variables. For example, in income and expenditure model, we generally have some collinearity among these two. Then we have data collection method. That is, our data collection method is such that the problem of multicollinearity arises. Now what are the consequences that multicollinearity can lead to? So first is that if we have perfect correlation, that is our x1 x2 is 1, that is that suppose we can describe variable 2i in the form of variable 1 exactly, that this is perfect multicollinearity where lambda is not 0 as can be seen here. So in this case least square estimators are indeterminate, that is we can't determine beta 1 hat or beta 2 hat, and variances and covariances becomes infinitely large. Now how this happen is, suppose we have yi equals to beta naught beta 1 x1i plus beta 2 x2i plus nu I, and we have taken this. So now when we substitute this in beta 1 formula, so we get beta 1 hat as 0 by 0, which is indeterminate form. Similarly, we can see that beta 2 hat will also be indeterminate. Now generally what happens is we have less than perfect multicollinearity, that is an error term is present here. So what happens in this case to the estimators is that OLS estimators will still be blue in nature, that is they will be best linear unbiased estimators. Only effect is that it is very difficult. It is difficult to estimate coefficients with small standard error, that is we can't estimate coefficients with better precision. So what happen is that we have variance and covariance will be large, that is variance of beta 2 hat will be sigma square upon summation x2 I square multiplied by 1 minus r23 square, that is correlation between variable 2 and 3. Now this is extra term as compared to beta 2 hat variance when multicollinearity was not present. So here this is called as variance inflating factor. This is called as variance inflating factor. But this does not violate minimum variance. Now here variance and covariance are large, but they does not violate minimum variance property. That is these will still have minimum variance. that is they will be best. Also, large variance and covariance will lead to higher standard errors, which implies that we have less precision as compared to OLS model when multicollinearity was not present. Also, one of the consequences is that this lead to wider confidence interval, so which increases the probability of type 2 error. Also, estimators and standard errors are highly sensitive to small changes in data. Now, how to detect multicollinearity in the model? So first is, suppose we have high value of R square but insignificant T ratios. Value of R square is high, T ratios are insignificant, but F values are significant. So this combination can imply presence of multicollinearity. Next is Fisher's confluence analysis. Now what we do here is that we are evaluating pairwise correlation. That is, you evaluate the correlation among all the variables, right? Pairwise correlation among all the variables, which can show that whether the multicollinearity is present or not. Then we have Farrar-Galaber test. Now this is a test of 3 steps. So set of 3 tests which is done in step. So first is chi-square test that helps in detection of existence and severity of multicollinearity, that whether multicollinearity is present or not and how severe it is. Then we have F test, which locates the variables which are collinear, which are multicollinear. Then we do in third step, that is T test, for determining the pattern of multicollinearity. So in this way we can detect whether the multicollinearity is present in our model or not. Now last, that is fifth thing, that is we have to see about multicollinearity is remedial measures, that how to solve the problem of multicollinearity. So first is a priori information. Now what happened here is that betas can be obtained from theory. That is, from theory we know the exact relationship between variables, or from previous empirical work we can determine that how betas are dependent on each other, right, or what is the relationship. Then second remedial measure is pooling of data, that you can pool the cross sectional data and time series data. Third is dropping the variable. Now suppose we have x2 as lambda x3, right? So what we can do is we can drop one variable and we can then solve the model, so there will be no multicollinearity. But problem is that here remedy may be worse in the sense that it can cause specification bias, because you may be removing a significant variable in this case. Next is transformation of variables. Now here what we are doing is we are transforming variables. That is, suppose for example is take first difference variable. First difference variable is delta yt, which is value of yt minus value of yt minus 1. Now problem here is that we get here a new error term which is ut minus 1, right? So here also remedy may be worse because of the error term. Fifth remedy is either you can increase the sample size or add new data such that the effect of multicollinearity declines. So in this way we can solve the problem of multicollinearity. So here we have seen the 5 things, which are: first is what is the definition or nature of multicollinearity, right? Second is causes or sources of multicollinearity. Then we have consequences of multicollinearity. Fourth is that how to detect whether multicollinearity is present or not, and 5 is remedial measures. So now this completes our topic of multicollinearity in econometrics. Thank you.